It began on a warm spring evening, when the golden sky kissed the rooftops of a sleepy suburban town. The sun was setting slowly, casting long shadows across cracked sidewalks and swaying trees. But for Amina, there was no golden light. Her world was quiet, shadowless, painted in eternal darkness. At just 9 years old, Amina had never seen the color of the sky, never watched her grandmother smile, never looked into the eyes of the dog that meant the world to her. She was born with Leber's congenital amaurosis, a rare genetic condition that stole her vision before her memories could form. But Amina wasn't alone. Beside her, always walking with steady paws and quiet eyes, was Raka, a German shepherd unlike any other. To most, he looked like a simple guide dog, well-trained, obedient, focused. But there was a fire behind his calm eyes, a story hidden behind his silent loyalty. And on that very street, where Amina tapped her white cane and hummed a little melody under her breath, Raka would soon become something much more than a guide. He would become a guardian. A fighter. A symbol of everything good in a world that had sometimes been so cruel. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unshakable loyalty of animals, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. We bring real, emotional stories that restore faith in love, loyalty, and hope. Amina lived with her maternal grandmother in a modest house tucked into the edge of the neighborhood. It wasn't much, just 2 bedrooms, peeling wallpaper, and a small garden, but to Amina, it was home. After her parents passed in a tragic accident, her grandmother had taken her in, fighting through grief and old age to give the child a life with dignity. But money was tight. Her grandmother worked part-time at a library, and most of their support came from social aid and small community donations. The only luxury they ever allowed themselves was Raka. He wasn't bought, though. He was gifted by a soldier. 2 years earlier, Amina had wandered too far in a park and gotten lost. Panic had set in. Her tiny hands trembled as she cried softly, not knowing which direction to turn. That's when a man, stern-faced, wearing army fatigues, noticed her and gently took her hand. He had served 3 tours abroad. With him was Raka, then freshly retired from active duty. When the man saw Amina's condition, and heard her grandmother's story, he made a quiet decision that would change everything. Within weeks, Raka was officially retrained and paired with Amina through a special veteran dog program. From that day on, they became inseparable. Mornings began with soft music in the house, followed by slow, careful walks to the local music academy where Amina was learning to play piano. Her fingers moved with surprising grace. Her ears were sharp. She learned to navigate keys the way Raka navigated her through streets, precise, attentive, devoted. Every day was the same, until the bikers showed up. The group called themselves the Black Hornets, just 5 teenagers who felt forgotten and tried to fill the emptiness with chaos. They rode second-hand bikes, their mufflers illegally modified to roar louder than thunder. They weren't gangsters, but they liked to pretend they were. They terrorized corners of the neighborhood, filming pranks, smashing bottles, and chasing cats with slingshots. When they first noticed Amina, they didn't care. But when they realized she was blind, and always with a dog, they saw her as an easy target. Not for money. Not even for harm. But for sport. Cruel, senseless sport. It started small. Mocking laughter from behind trees. Stones thrown near her feet to see if she would react. One time, a soda can was kicked in her path, and she tripped, bruising her knees. Raka barked, spun, but the bikers had vanished before anyone saw them. Amina never told her grandmother. She didn't want to burden her. But Raka remembered. And he never forgot their scent. The attack came on a cloudy Friday afternoon. Amina had just finished playing Claire de Lune in her final rehearsal for a community performance. Her teacher, Mrs. Hashmi, had tears in her eyes. "You don't play with fingers, Amina," she had said softly. "You play with your heart." But as Amina walked home, tapping along familiar cracks in the sidewalk, something felt wrong. The street was too quiet. The wind too sharp. And then, screeching tires. Engines revving. The sound of 3 bikes cutting off her path. She froze. Raka stopped too. His ears perked up, and a low growl escaped his throat. A can clattered to the ground. Then laughter. A mocking voice, "Where you headed, blind girl? Lose your way?" Amina held her cane tighter. Her heartbeat pounded like a drum in her ears. She whispered, "Raka, home." But it was too late. One of the boys lunged, trying to grab her cane. Another revved his bike loudly, spinning it near her to make her flinch. The third reached out with a plastic bag filled with what seemed like flour, intending to dump it on her. But none of them understood the dog beside her. Raka barked a deep, thunderous warning. The boy with the bag didn't stop. So Raka launched. It wasn't a wild attack. It was a trained strike. He bit down on the arm holding the bag, dragged the teen off balance, and pushed him to the ground. The others tried to intervene, but Raka had positioned himself between Amina and danger. The second boy stepped forward, swinging a bike helmet. Raka dodged and barked again, sending a shockwave of fear through the group. People from nearby houses began to appear. One neighbor filmed the confrontation on her phone. Another called the police. Within minutes, flashing lights lit up the street. The bikers were caught. One boy had a fractured wrist. The video went viral. Local news ran the headline, "Blind Girl's Dog Stops Teen Attack, Turns Out to be Retired War Hero." The aftermath brought waves of change. The mayor visited their home and gave Amina a bravery certificate. Her story was featured on morning talk shows. People sent toys, flowers, and even a piano. But Amina didn't care about fame. She just wanted to play music and be left in peace. Raka was given a special medal and a day of honor at the local police station. What truly changed, though, was the community. People started seeing her as more than the blind girl. Children at the park greeted her by name. Mothers invited her grandmother for tea. Her music teacher offered her a full scholarship. For the first time, Amina felt included. But most of all, she felt safe because of Raka. The bond between Amina and Raka grew deeper with time. He could sense her moods. He lay beside her when she was anxious. He nuzzled her shoulder when she cried silently in the night, missing her parents. She wrote a song for him, Heart of a Warrior, and performed it at a charity event for veteran dogs. The entire hall stood in applause. Many wept. Even the bikers, who had been arrested but later given a second chance through community service, sent her letters of apology. One of them, Adam, even began volunteering at a local animal shelter, inspired by what Raka had done. If this story touched your heart even for a moment, please don't leave without liking, sharing, and subscribing to Pawsitive Tales. These real-life inspired stories remind us of the power of compassion, the magic of loyalty, and how animals can heal even the deepest wounds. Special request to comment. What would you name a brave dog like Raka if you had one in your life? Comment below, we love hearing your thoughts.